It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
That's a great segue way to set that one up. Tee it up for me. This is from Kevin. Kevin said, "Hey, how do you know when to combine finances? We've been married for 3 years and we're doing fine. Is there a reason to do so, or simply just make each other dependents on the other's account? Should we bring finances together?" He's asking two questions, I think. Should we bring finances together is first question. Second question, should we bring accounts together?
Yeah, look, we've covered this before, but I think it's always an important one. It really depends. I think the default answer is I want you to be a combined household, but I also understand there's some caveats to that. If you're a later marriage, a second or third marriage, there's going to be some differences there on meaning that you might be bringing in assets, or maybe you come from family money, or you have family resources that have been provided to you. Those type of situations, because there is some legal protections there, that I think we always have to pay respect that those accounts might need to be separate so that they save their legal protections. I do like the thought, though, that once a couple is married, you open a joint account together, you have all the income sources for that couple flow into that joint account, and that is the account that y'all start making together. Then it's easier. Like if you come into the marriage both broke, then you there's no reason that y'all should have separate accounts, because I think in the long term that could create some weird dynamics within the relationship. Especially if one is making a lot more than the other, you never want to get into a type of situation. I know in my house, we are never, ever, ever, and I would never do this to my wife, talk about who makes the money.
Sure.
Because I think that is a very disrespectful thing to the dynamic of the marriage and the respect within the relationship and the love in the relationship. So it's better for me to have all the money come into one account so we can treat it as a duo and we can make joint decisions on it, because because I am the financial guy of the household doesn't mean that I should be. It's not an authoritarian type relationship where I get to tell my wife what to do. We all know who the boss is. I mean, my wife is the boss, so there's no reason to create some weird power structure there. So I do like, if you're married, have a joint account. You can pay, respect to the legal dynamics of if you come into the relationship with assets that need to be separated. But I do think income coming into the relationship should go into a joint account, and y'all should manage that together.
But perhaps you decide to do it separately, because we have clients who do that. If you decide to keep your account separate, we do think you should have one solid goal in place, one financial plan in place, that even if you have multiple accounts, you both are working towards these same common goals. If you say, hey, I've got my accounts and I'm doing my thing, and you have your accounts and you're doing your thing, there's a thing you're going to be really inefficiently allocated, both from an investment risk standpoint as well as from a tax standpoint. So if you can at least take into consideration all of the household accounts, you're going to start on much more solid footing. But I agree with you, Brian. I think bringing it together jointly makes a lot of sense where possible.
And then I would say walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. If you're the one that makes in the relationship, you're the one that makes more money, put yourself in your spouse's situation and think of how you'd feel emotionally if you had to go to that spouse every time you need money. It's just not the greatest thing in the world. And I think that just be healthy about that, because it's these type of things that I think creep into a relationship and can create and kind of create, essentially you're turning a scratch into something that gets infected, and then it festers, and then it could really create a much bigger problem in the relationship if you don't address it on the front end.